It is Bronze and Modern Gods bonus episode time. I'm John. That man there is Tinkerballs, along with Richard.
Hi, John. How you doing today?
Good. Enough of you. Hi, Tinkerballs. How are you, Kitty? Hey, if you are a big fan of Tinkerballs, make sure you're following us on Bronze and Modern Gods on Instagram and Facebook. If you like seeing Tinkerballs on video, hit the like button. If you like seeing Richard on video, subscribe. If you like seeing me, hey, hit the notification bell. We'll let you know when you can see any of our three respective mugs. And today we have your questions, your comments, viewer mail, the Comic NFT report. Unfortunately, if you are here for the Instagram Market Watch, no Market Watch with Ali this week because he is having a blast at New York Comic Con, as he should. And if you're there, he has a booth. So go say hi to Ali and Bill from Elite_Comics 11. And now, Richard, I think it's time for viewer mail.
You've got mail.
Our first piece of viewer mail is yours. And what is it?
You actually picked this one for me.
I did.
How do you tell the difference between the Miles covers? I think he's referring to the Ultimate Fallout 4, the first print and the facsimile edition. You did mention it and blurred your sentence together, which made it ambiguous. Is there a definitive way to tell? I apologize.
I don't think I'm going to send this again. Anyway, we're very.
It's actually, if you know what you're looking for, it's actually fairly easy. There is a Marvel logo near the top of the cover. On the original comic, there is no background to that logo. It's just white text. On the facsimile, it has a red background. Also, the barcode on the facsimile is much thinner than the barcode on the first print. You can tell a difference between the barcodes. The barcodes on the facsimile is much thinner than the barcode on the first print.
And the big giveaway is that red Marvel logo. If it's red, you're dead.
Right. And you can also tell if you have an opportunity to open the book up, the indicia on the first page will say that it's a facsimile edition.
Yeah, and it doesn't come polybagged. That's
yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, there you go. We'll try to speak more clearly. All right. Our next viewer mail, and again, no. Our next piece of viewer mail is from Clifton Chu, who writes us on Facebook. Hi, love the show. Thank you. I wanted to get your thoughts on the value of UK pence price variants versus the US cents of the same comic. From what I've read, there's a huge divide and debate in the value, even though they're not reprints, they are not, and are technically more rare. They are. If Canadian price variants are considered more valuable, why not the UK pence variants also? P.S. Give Tinkerball some pets for me. Well, let's
okay.
Handle that first. Oh, look at that face, that little punum. All right. Canadian price variants, UK pence variants. You're right. They're not reprints. They are/were printed at the same time as the US counterparts. All that was done was a simple black plate change. If you are into printing, you know exactly what that means. They take the black plate that has the price off, they slap a new one on, and they continue the print run. Why are UK pence variants so undervalued? We've discussed this before in a prior episode. The answer is we don't know. We're with you. We agree. If Canadian price variant of Secret Wars #8 is so friggin' desirable, why isn't the UK price variant of, say, I don't know, Spider-Man #1 just as desirable? I don't know. The market is a fickle beast.
It is. I think Canadians get a. I think the fact that it has a dollar sign on it and can be very easily construed as a U.S. print kind of blurs the line between the difference, and people look at the print run and say, "Well, gee, the dollar Canadian has a much smaller print run than the 75-cent U.S., for example." And but yeah, I really don't know why the pence version doesn't get any love. But then you can expand that to why doesn't the Brazilian version or the Mexican version have the same kind of love, because they most definitely have smaller print runs. I really think it boils down to a bias to the bulk of the collectors who are American, and they favor that dollar sign.
I would say maybe even the UK buyers would want the American cents version. Yeah, that may be what it is. It could be as simple as that. It is frustrating though, because you see people chasing one thing when this other thing is just as valid and no one's chasing it.
But you got to remember, just because it's rare doesn't mean it's valuable, and it's really falls down to the market, and what the market determines has value.
Quite true. What's your next piece of viewer mail, Richard? Why don't you have Tinkerballs read this next one?
Okay, Tinkerballs, read this one. This one is from Dope Comics. Would you guys rather have a CGC 7.5 Blue Label ASM 31, first appearance of Gwen Stacy, or a CGC 9.8 Blue Label first print Edge of Spider-Verse #2, which is the first appearance of Spider-Gwen?
Ooh.
Both can be had for $17.50 on eBay. I'd much rather have the ASM 31. Yeah, let's see. Okay, I've had both, and I actually sold the ASM 31, and I still have the Edge of Spider-Verse #2. It's a tough question because it really falls to what you're collecting and what's important to you. Are you a collector that focuses on the history of Spider-Man, the early history, and their Gwen Stacy is integral to that early history. The first 50 issues of Spider-Man really focuses on her story and Parker? Or are you more of a more neo Spider-Man and focusing more on what's happened after the ultimate fallout, the death of Peter Parker and quote unquote, and the rise of Miles Morales and other Spider characters? There's a variety of other Spider characters because of the Spider-Verse. Even though I grew up, back in the day when ASM 31 was important, I gravitate towards Spider-Gwen and the characters from this newer generation. And that's just me. That's my collection. My collection differs from every other person on this planet, but that's what I focus on. What about you, John?
I'm going to be really crazy and say they're not the same character. They're not.
No,
they share a name, but Gwen Stacy of the Silver Age into the Bronze Age is a very different character than Spider-Gwen. Gwen Stacy was the perpetual damsel in distress who constantly needed to be saved, blamed Spider-Man for the death of her father, Captain Stacy, and got killed by the Green Goblin. And that was the end of it, until the clone came in. But then, that's a whole nother mess. Spider-Gwen is her own person. Spider-Gwen is her own hero. Spider-Gwen is confident. I could never imagine Gwen Stacy from Peter Parker's Spider-Man being Spider-Gwen. The Gwen Stacy I know would go, ew, spiders, webs, gross.
You're right about that. They are definitely different people coming from different universes, and they do deserve their own unique history and unique storytelling.
So that's a long-winded way of saying, I think it depends on your age group. I think if you're younger and into the more recent stuff like Richard, who's much younger than me, I think you're into that. Spider-Gwen. If you are an old fart like myself and Peter Parker is Spider-Man and all this other stuff is just fun ancillary stuff, you would go with ASM 31. Are we talking scarcity? Then it's a different conversation.
It was printed in 2011. And the odds of the book being high grade are much higher than high grade in ASM 31.
Yeah.
The print run was probably, it survived in better state than ASM 31. So yeah, that's a good question. If you're looking at no, actually he can't be looking at the Greg Land because he said $17.50 for the price. So he's got to be looking at the A cover.
Greg Land, Greg Horn. I get them so confused. All I know is they both love to trace photos. So
he's talking about the A cover. If you get into variants, then that's a whole nother story because there are a number of variants of Edge of Spider-Verse, and they all have different values that go up from the A cover.
Yeah. So to answer your question, depends on who you are. How's that, Dope?
Yep. Everybody's connection is a snowflake.
Right. Exactly. All right. Our next piece of viewer mail is from Adam Hoffbauer, who emailed us at bronsonmoderngods@gmail.com. Hey guys, love the channel. Thank you. Thought you guys would be a good place for info on next steps for selling a significant legacy collection. After decades of collecting, my dad is finally ready to start selling his collection, which includes full runs and major and minor keys from the 50s to the modern era. My family is planning on setting up an LLC to handle it all as a formal business, write off expenses, and manage capital gains taxes.
Wow.
Love your feedback on what we might want to look out for. Well, Adam, I think we can make this very, very easy for you. Just sell it to Richard and I. Problem solved. We will be happy to pay 10% of what the Overstreet price guide from 1985 values those books. We'll be happy. We'll go up. We know we like you, Adam, because you like the show. We'll go to 20%.
Wow, John, you're such a benefactor.
No, seriously, folks. Adam, it sounds like you're on top of it, man.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't think there's much more we can tell you. It sounds like you remind me of my heroine, Susie Orman.
It's been a while since you've mentioned her.
It's been a while since I've had a Susie Orman, but he's got the right idea. He's gonna set it up as a business and write off the bags and boards, the pressing if he's getting pressed. That's a writable. I would say that's a deductible expense.
But not only that, I mean, if you're doing it that way, you can approach people like Heritage or Comic Link and write off the fees that those companies charge, which are significant, and have a huge audience for those Blue Book keys that you may have.
My advice to you, Adam, at the very beginning, the basics: get a list, make an Excel spreadsheet, alphabetical order of everything you have, every issue. You write from A to Z with an estimated grade. If you don't know how to grade, start reading up. We have a video on how to grade. If you go through our archives, and be honest, with yourself and with your father when you're grading stuff, because when it's your personal collection, it's like, it's a 9.6. Oh, it's a 9.0, dude. Look at those corners. Be brutal. Underestimate. It's better to be surprised at the end. And then take that list to some reputable auction houses, your Comic Link, your Comic Connect. You might even want to go with some of the big guns like Metropolis Comics, Super World, and see what they say. But you're kind of like me, Adam. It sounds like you want to do it yourself and maximize your profits. Find a good presser that you trust, press them all, get them slabbed. Don't do the raw route. If this is a long tail game you're playing, which it should be because you got time, I'm assuming, play the long game. Don't go for short gains, or as I said, sell it all to me.
No, I'm totally with you on that last part. I mean, he's doing it right. He's got the taxes taken care of. He's got expenses taken care of. If you've got the time, get those books pressed, get them slabbed, write off the expense of both, and you can maximize the amount of money that you can get because those books will be graded, and there will be a known quantity as opposed to how raws are handled, and they're a little bit softer in terms of their value. So especially, if you got high-end books from the 50s and 60s, you want to sell those graded just because there's thousands of dollars difference between a raw book and a graded book because people are afraid of things like restoration or restoration staples, or there's a variety of things that can really affect the value of a book that grading kind of quantifies.
It's going to protect you. It's going to protect the buyer.
Right.
So you should absolutely do that. And let us know how it goes. Follow up.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting journey for your father. Because there's going to be a lot of memories tied up with those books. So, be a little sensitive to that also, to realize that this is something that means something to him as well.
No, that's true. I'm so mercenary. I forget about empathy and emotions sometimes. You're right. And hey, take a quick iPhone video for us. We'd love to see it and share it with everybody if you're comfortable with that, because I love stories like this. All right. What's your next piece of viewer mail there?
My next piece of mail is from Kryptonite Rocks. Lorna, or Polaris, is also the daughter of Magneto, so she is indeed a huge character.
Is she the daughter of Magneto, though? I thought that was
that disputed?
I think that was debunked, but
okay.
You guys will tell us in the comments.
I loved her in the Wolverine and the X-Men animated series. 2 Strangle books that are gorgeous in any collection, and especially the 50 it's one of my favorite X-Men covers. Yeah, this is in response to my pick for X-Men 49 as being undervalued because it's, it hides in the shade of X-Men 50. Yeah, Steranko, Steranko is just a force. When he hits hard. Some of his covers I'm not necessarily a fan of, but some of the Hulk covers, these X-Men covers, they really hit it out of the park. And yeah, it's I would love to see Polaris show up in one of the MCU properties. We've already got a crowded list of people who we want to show up, and there's only so many they can squeeze in. But I think it would be an interesting character. But yeah, get Magneto in there first, obviously.
I thought about it after our last episode, and I came to the conclusion Polaris is underused and underutilized because she's not unique. We have Magneto. Yeah. We have someone, we have a master of magnetism. Do we need a mistress of magnetism? So it's kind of like what is unique about her besides her green hair?
You never stopped Batman and Batgirl.
Yeah, but Batgirl, she was a librarian, then she was a congresswoman. Her dad was Commissioner Gordon. I mean, there were what's the character peg for Lorna Dane? She's in love with Alex Summers. Okay, great. So it's another female character defined by her relationship with a man. Sorry.
Another X-Men defined by her relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. I do like her, but that's probably why we don't see a lot of her being used. They probably need to revamp her powers in some way, some sort of secondary mutation or something. Somebody much more creative than me.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, maybe we'll see something like that. The nice thing about the MCU and the multiverse, they are not tied down to the comic book canon. They can experiment and alter things to fit the kind of story they want to tell. So who knows?
Indeed. All right. My last piece of viewer mail is, I did not write down who this is from. My apologies, but it actually came to us on Facebook Messenger. Just wondering if you guys use or have ever used collectible insurance to cover your books and what your thoughts on it are. Thanks. No. That's my answer. I should. I'm sure I'm going to have the same answer that Richard has. I really should, because there's some money there and it's not necessarily covered by your homeowner's insurance.
No, it's not. I've actually contacted my insurance agent. I'm a State Farm customer. And they do not itemize collectibles. So you will not get back the value of what you've invested. So I went through the whole process of starting to look at some third-party insurance companies that specialize in collectibles. And they ask you to give an estimate of the value of your collection. And, as a starter place to get an idea of what your premium is going to be. And at the time, my collection was going to have a premium of about $500 a year, which it's not bad. You pay $500 for the comfort of if there's a water leak in your house, theft. There's a whole variety of things that can affect the comic books and their value, and you'd be covered. And do you think I actually went through with it? It was one of those things. I'll do it tomorrow. And the next thing I know, my collection's value has grown significantly, and I'm going to have to go through the whole process again. But it's definitely, I feel, once your collection gets above a certain dollar value, and that has to be something that you determine. Where is the pain point that if everything got destroyed, you would feel the loss financially? Once you've reached that pain point, then you need to start looking at some way of protecting the value of those books, and insurance is one of the best ways.
First of all, I have to give the credit to the person that asked this question. I found his name, James Carnes. Thank you, James. There are some options out there. Collect Insure is a company that does this specifically. Markel Insurance offers this insurance, and a company called American Collectors. I will have links in the description below if you so want to investigate those. And I have to wonder, okay, let's say I have my comics in the basement and there's a flood and there's water damage, Richard, and you make a claim and they pay out your claim and everything's on the up and up. Do they keep your books? do you get to try to sell the water damaged books on top of that?
That's a good question. Not only that, given the way the market's been recently, let's say it's based on the estimated value of your collection. Let's say your collection is valued at a flat $100,000. So you pay a fee based on $100,000. 6 months later, 8 months later, that $100,000 is now 175,000, 200,000, and there's some incident, and they have to pay out. Do they pay out at the $100,000?
Yeah.
So there's some considerable questions that go along with this whole process.
You have your Darkhawk #1 9.8 insured for $200. Then the movie's announced, and all of a sudden it's a $1,500 book, along with your Sleepwalker #1 and your Quasar #50. Yeah, okay, I'll stop. All right, it is time to fire up that modem, get on America Online, and check out the Comic NFT Watch. This week, we had 2 new drops happen. Fantastic Four #13, first appearance of the Red Ghost and his Super Apes. Oh, yeah, and the Watcher. And Daredevil #1, the first appearance of Foggy Nelson and Karen Page. And Daredevil. Again, nice to see a couple of keys happening as opposed to things like Immortal Hulk #1. Richard, I saw FF13 and I got excited for you.
Yeah. Oh, it's Fantastic Four. It's early Fantastic Four. I was in.
Yep. These are the first 2 Marvel NFTs to have exclusive cover variants that are exclusive to Vivi. That's kind of a neat thing.
Yes. I feel for the first time they have brought a unique value to the system.
So are they comic books yet? All right. No, all right. Meanwhile, prices are in flux. They went down. They went back up a bit again. It seems like the market is settling a little bit. It looks like these things are finally finding their level. We'll see what happens as more and more new people come into the platform. But right now, the crazy secret rare prices have seemed to calm down. The commons have calmed down a bit. Marvel Comics #1 has gone from 80 gems down to about 54, 55. So I thought that was interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I still think it's early. I still think we have a while until we hit that critical mass of books out there, and we have enough data for people to feel confident to judge and gauge the value of some of these things. So I'm going to hold out until after Christmas to see because I still think the market is going to fluctuate more. We're gonna have more big books though. We've got Daredevil coming up, and that's going to be, I think, a big seller.
I'm kind of bummed I didn't sell my Immortal Hulk #1 secret rare when it was 3.5 thousand gems. Now it's down to about 1.2K. There was another sale of a What If secret rare this week on eBay for 2,000 cash. That was interesting. But meanwhile, DC have started actually delivering their first NFTs to those people who registered for DC Fandom. Much like getting badges for San Diego Comic-Con, you're taken to a waiting room, then you're sent to a different room to claim yours. Your wait time is about an hour, people are discovering. And then after you wait an hour, you've got 15 minutes to complete the claiming process. I have seen 2 people so far on Instagram actually claimed and gotten their NFTs. They are ugly as sin.
Oh, really? So those are the actual pictures I thought they were a placeholder. So.
They are not. They actually look like floppy disks from the 90s. And yeah,
what are they thinking? They have a wealth of subject matter and art at their beck and call.
I get it. It's retro. It's not for us, maybe.
So when do floppy disks tie into the millennials?
If you're a millennial, it's funny. It's like looking at the old floppy disk icon and going, what is that thing supposed to be? And yeah, I kind of get it. I just hate it.
I don't get it at all. At least for the Marvel, the VV stuff, I understand the concept. You're taking a comic book, you're making a digital version of it. I get it on a visceral level. floppy disks with Wonder Woman's face on it. Really, that's something that people find value. It just perplexes me.
But Richard, it's in 3D and you can spin it around. It really looks like it was made by someone who thought this is what NFTs are. We'll just make it 3D-ish and make it look retro and 8-bit and cool and nah, boo. Hey, John, I just signed up for DC Fandom. I registered. I haven't gotten my email yet. Neither have I. Neither has Richard. That's because they are sending these out between now and when Fandom begins, which is October 16th, even throughout Fandom, which I believe is going to be 3 or 4 days. So you've got potentially another 2 weeks to get your link to claim. I'm not sure why the rollout is so slow and staggered like this. Maybe their servers can't handle it, or the company they're working with sold them on this idea of, Heinz ketchup anticipation. I don't get it.
It again is perplexing to me. They are in control of when these are given out, unlike Marvel and their purchase process. So I don't know.
We do not enjoy picking on DC. I just wish they would stop making it so damn easy.
I pick because I think they have such an opportunity here. Marvel has proven that this is a moneymaker. This is something the fans actually want. So why don't they at the least emulate what Marvel is doing today?
I have to wonder if they're saving that approach for revenue, because these are free. This is a loss leader to get you in the door to Fandom and to get your email and to get your contact info and your birth date and everything else they asked you for when you registered. So I don't, while these are the first official DC NFTs, this may not be where they're heading. Gosh, I hope not. I hope there's a strategy here. I would think a big, powerful company like Warner Media would have a strategy.
Yeah. There is a strategy. I'm sure there is. It's just I see them squandering a perfect opportunity to catch up to where Marvel is, or even take a look at what's the challenges they've had and sidestep those and improve upon the process. So I don't see this. I don't see these free NFTs having the same value as what the VV is offering as a product. That is a saleable product. But when I'm trying to be positive about it, I'm thinking, okay, this is DC testing the waters, testing their infrastructure to see how well it handles the thousands of people who have signed up already for the free one. And if that's their method, then I think it's a great method, because a lot of these things fall flat because their infrastructure can't handle the load of the fan. So we'll see.
True. Speaking of VV as a product, they had their first NFT as a utility drop this week. And by that, I mean, it is a non-comic related NFT that gives the purchaser something physical in return, which is the James Bond 007 ticket NFT. There were only 7 made, 007, get it? And they were 150 each. And each purchase came with 7 tickets to go see the new James Bond film at any AMC theater in the United States. So it was US only purchasers, and you got 7 tickets. I think that's interesting. I don't get why they limited to just 7, I guess, to make a story. But NFTs as a utility, there's the future, folks.
I've said over and over again, we were at the beginning of this whole process, and people will find different ways of adding value to these things. In this case, it's go see the movie that the ticket is based on. In the future, it may be exclusive comic books that are only available to people who hold the NFT. We don't know. I think these companies are feeling out the market and feeling out the process, and it's going to take a while for things to settle down. Be an early adopter, and it could pay off. So that's kind of why I'm buying into this at this point.
We're going to be along the ride with you and keeping you informed. So make sure you stick around here. No IG Market Watch this week. As I mentioned earlier in the show, Ali is at New York City Comic Con. He will be there all weekend. Make sure you go up to him and say hi. that's really going to wrap it up for this bonus episode, Richard.
Everybody has, please sign up for Instagram and Facebook and follow us, or go to our website at brownsandmoderngods.com and send us an email and let us know what you think about the show.
We love hearing from you guys, so keep it coming. All right. And we will see you on Monday.
Yep. Everybody stay safe.